Right guys, so if you've been following the other mobility exercise videos that we've produced, you'll know we've gone through the hips, the lower back, hamstrings, so we've talked about neural flossing. The last one we did was on the lumbar spine and the thoracic spine, and that was more for an extension. We're now going to start to move into rotation, which is where most of your movement for your side poses comes from, through the use of a foam roller and the floor, essentially. So the foam roller is our progression. I'm going to get Emma into a position to start her initial exercise-based thoracic spine movements off. And then once we've got that grained in, like we did with the lumbar spine one, we're then going to progress onto the foam roller, where you can start to use a bit more body movement and body weight to encourage that thoracic spine to rotate fully. So if you were to lie onto your back for me, Emma, facing towards the side wall, and then going to roll onto your side to face the camera. Now, the keys to think about here, what you'll find a lot of people do when they're stiff in the thoracic spine, is they tend to rotate from the pelvis and from the hip. So we're going to try and imagine that we're stacking our hips on top of each other. We've stacked our shoulders on top of each other. And it's not just about opening the arm, it's about rotating through the spine, keeping those hips stacked. So you're going to push the top arm forwards for me, Emma. So slide forwards and then start to rotate, keeping your eyes fixed on the arm as it rotates backwards. So top arm comes back. Emma continues to keep looking at her hand. Crack, crack, crack. I won't charge you for that one. And then slowly back into your starting position, keeping that shoulder pushed forwards. Lovely. Resetting your position, so bringing both hands back on top, pelvis on top of each other, and then repeating that process. Now on these ones, rather than spending 2 minutes in this position, because you'll be there all day, you're going to do 10 repetitions on your left hand side, swap over onto the other side, and 10 repetitions on the other side. So that's piece number one. Now piece number two, this is a variation of threading the needle. So if Emma comes into 4-point kneeling. Now again on this one, we're thinking about hips stacked over the knees, shoulders stacked over the hands, and we're going to bring that foam roller just down, because what we're going to do here is we're going to allow this arm to basically push underneath the left side. So if you take the side of your arm onto the side of the foam roller, and then essentially keeping the hips square and stacked, and then back up from there, we're going to use this as our progression. So this is threading the needle. The foam roller gives you some ability to be able to push further into the stretch. So you can see Emma's mobility is pretty good through her thoracic spine. So she's almost able to get that shoulder down onto the floor.
I'll show you.
Yeah. Don't worry if you can't get to those degrees of range of movement. Remember, it's repetition on these things, and the repetitions accumulate. So the first few times you do this, you might find that things feel very stiff and very immobile, but with some regular use, you'll find you'll start to get a lot more out of this movement than the one where you're lying on your side. So that's your starting point, this is your progression. Now, it's quite common, as we found when Emma first did the rotation movement, for your back to crack. And I think some people are a bit perturbed when the back cracks. I think they've done some damage to themselves. I think it's actually a very nice part of the movement. Yeah. So if your back does crack, if it cavitates, don't worry. That's just the joints in your back releasing, and you've probably saved yourself £65 going to see your chiropractor or your local osteopath.
Very true.
So these are really nice ways to keep that spine mobile, and not only help just with your posing, but also help from a training perspective.
Absolutely. So apply that to your practice, and it will make a huge difference to your side rotations for all categories. So whether that is bodybuilding, whether it's bikini, whether it's figure, these two simple exercises will really make a difference on that thoracic rotation, which we covered in those tutorials for your mobility. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.